Fland Canyon is the 19th episode of the 27th season of The Simpsons. This is directed by Frank Polcino. And I have to say, I don't like this one. And what's quite interesting for me is that usually I agree with the ratings on IMDb for The Simpsons, but in season 27, there have been a couple of episodes that have been rated 7 or higher. And on every occasion, I think, where it's been 7 or higher, I've been the exact opposite. And this is the case here. It's got 7.1 out of 10 across 1,000 reviews and ratings. And I just didn't like it. And there were two reasons for that. One, I didn't like that it was a narrative within a narrative. Homer is telling Maggie this story. And while I don't necessarily have a problem with that as a narrative setup, I didn't think it was necessary. I just didn't care for it. But the reason I suppose it is necessary is because the story is a flashback. And we don't cut back to Homer enough to remember that it's a flashback, or I didn't. And then Maude came into it, and I was like, hang on, what's Maude doing here? And then it took me a couple of seconds to remember, it's a flashback. Because Bart and Lisa don't look that much younger in it. So it's not like they're tiny toddlers, and the characters are wearing different clothing, which they often do in flashbacks, but because they're on vacation at the Grand Canyon, they're all wearing, well, some of the characters are wearing quite casual clothing anyway. So if we're seeing them in different clothing anyway, Ned and Homer wearing t-shirts, more casual wear, it doesn't stand out of place with Bart and Lisa wearing different clothing that normally serves to show they're a bit younger. So I actually frequently forgot that we were in a flashback, and I don't like flashbacks in general. And I don't feel like the story was told well enough for it to work. As I said, when Ned and Maude were like marching along at one point, and I forgot what was happening. The story, of course, is largely about Homer and Ned bonding and not bonding, as the case may be in certain points, and about their friendship. And I mean, that's interesting. I do love seeing Homer and Flanders together, particularly when things are very thought-provoking. And it kind of reminds me, of an episode a couple of seasons ago, the title of which I can't remember. I've just Googled it. It's the greatest story ever told. To me, it feels a little bit too much like that. Now, the narratives actually aren't very similar, but I feel like the stories kind of are at the same time, certainly when it comes to Homer and Ned and their relationship and what happens there. So to me, it just wasn't that unique an idea. I didn't like the fact that it was flashbacks. I didn't care that Homer was telling this story to Maggie, and I actually don't think it was very well done. The only thing I love is all of the times we got to see the Grand Canyon, because it just looked beautiful in animation. I think the colours they chose were perfect. It really gave this great sense of this vast landscape, and that was all pretty good. So visually, it was okay every now and then, but as a narrative, I just really didn't care for it. For me, it just didn't work.